Nissan and Infiniti turned the SUV world on its head when they introduced the Murano and the FX earlier this decade. Those vehicles were like nothing we'd seen before, combining the best of a car and an SUV together. They were way ahead of the competition, and now we have the second generation FX to look at.
You're right, Zach. The FX is like nothing else on the road, but I have to be honest, not too crazy about the styling.
What are you talking about? This thing rocks. It's like there's a sports car in here, dying to get out.
I'm really not too sure. I can tell you that I do like the 21-inch wheels that are standard on this FX50 or optional on the less expensive FX35. And I like the fact that Infiniti didn't change it too much from the original.
Lacey, I can tell you're warming to this thing already. I bet you by the end you're going to want one.
Well, Zach, why don't you try to convince me?
The grille has been updated with very attractive black chrome. The headlights are very aggressive, and the overall shape of the hood is more in keeping with a car than an SUV. The fenders have the hottest trend, vents that actually take hot air out of the engine compartment and reduce front-end lift.
Well, Zach, we were a little hard on the smaller EX from Infiniti that we had earlier in the season because of its lack of space. But do you really think that this curvy beast is going to be any better?
You're right. The flowing shape of the FX does impact the amount of cargo space, and the crop roof does impact the interior. But because the FX is bigger overall than the EX, these sacrifices are easier to live with in this bigger unit. The cargo floor is high, and the height isn't too capacious, but it works for many empty nesters.
The interior is just beautiful. It kind of reminds us of the Infiniti M sedan that we love so much, with so much attention to detail to just every piece and panel. The quilted seats are quite different, and I really like the dual cockpit design up front here. There's lots of legroom in the back, but the sloped roof kind of gives it a claustrophobic feel. Infiniti has a reputation for developing highly advanced electronics in their cars, and the FX is a rolling showcase. There's a voice-activated navigation system, voice-activated controls for the radio and heat, along with Bluetooth connectivity, XM radio, and a killer stereo that includes over 9 gigabytes of music storage.
This FX is a marvel. It's got an around view monitoring system, cameras on either side of the car. This is the driver's side. There's one up the front, one on the passenger side, and another one on the back. There's no reason to hit anything.
You know, I think this might be a really great vehicle for someone that wants a performance machine but needs a little bit more utility.
Lacey, I told you this thing would grow on you.
There are 2 engine options available on the FX. You've got a very capable V6, and then this, a very powerful V8. Even though the FX35 has the same name as the old model, it has 25 more horsepower than the outgoing model with 303. There are V8 crossovers that wish they had that much power. The FX45 is now the FX50. It has a 5-liter V8 engine with 390 horsepower and almost as much torque. Now that's a 70 horsepower improvement over the outgoing FX, which is actually quite a sizable difference. We wish we had the V6 to try because it'll be the volume seller in the FX. And since we like the old FX35 so much, the new, more powerful model will not disappoint most drivers. This V8 is a bit of an overkill for most buyers. The FX has some really great driving characteristics, which is exactly what you'd expect from an Infiniti product. However, what I don't like is when I'm behind the wheel, I'm really confused about whether I'm driving a big truck or a small car. It's really wide and long with a pronounced hood, and on the flip side, there's not a lot of headroom, and the rear view window is really tiny.
Now, I love the fact that this all-wheel drive system in the FX has a bias to the rear wheels. So it's based on a rear-wheel drive car platform. So most of the power is going to the rear wheels, which gives you the best driving dynamics. You add into that a very capable suspension, those huge wheels. This vehicle can be tossed around with the ease of a sedan, but it doesn't jar the occupants inside. It seems that all manufacturers are adding extra gears, and the Infiniti is included. The FX has a 7-speed gearbox with lightning-quick shifts on the way up and perfect rev matching on the way down. The paddle shifters behind the wheel are very close in shape and feel to the Nissan GTR. You know what? I'm going to come out and say it. I can't believe how much I like driving this thing. This is the perfect marriage of a sports sedan with an SUV. All right, it's not a big SUV, but it has so many things going for it that I like. It's got that long, sporty hood. It's got a great suspension, a wonderfully powerful engine, a slick transmission, a beautiful interior. I like it. There are so many optional advanced electronic safety features, including lane departure warning system, distance control assist that brakes automatically in stop-and-go traffic, intelligent brake assist that helps prevent a collision, and intelligent cruise control. There's many more technology features that we just don't have time here to talk about, but do know that they're optional, and if you add them on, the price goes up quickly. For example, all the stuff I mentioned is on this test vehicle and adds about $10,000 to the price. So is this thing growing on you, or you still can't get past the styling? And before you answer, I want to tell you the price. The FX35 starts at $50,700 and the FX50 at $58,900. All right, what do you think?
Well, Zach, I really like that powerful V8 engine, and I know we mentioned it before that the V6 was probably going to be the volume seller, but that V8 was just so much fun to drive. The seats are very comfortable, not just for the driver, but for all the passengers. The fit and finish is just impeccable, and I really love that around view monitoring system. It's just so cool. And on the downside, I know I said it already, but I'm just not too crazy about the styling. And I have a feeling that the sloped roof in the back is really going to cut down on a bit of cargo space, so that's another dislike for me. How about you?
Well, for me, it always surrounds the way the vehicle drives. And this vehicle, and we mentioned it in our review, is a sports sedan trying to get out, and it does an amazing job. First of all, you've got great suspension and handling, and those big wheels, you point it where you want and it goes there, but it doesn't jar the occupants. You get a beautiful engine working perfectly with a 7-speed manual automatic gearbox, and it works fabulously. Now, I know it uses a lot of fuel when you get the V8, so I think people will probably gravitate towards the V6. The other thing is, I think the price is really quite attractive when you consider other vehicles in this class with V8 engines. You know what? They're $10,000 more if you get the German import manufacturer's product. And the other thing is styling. It appeals to me. It does have a sports sedan edge to it. You know what? Maybe it is just kind of like a guy-mobile a bit more, and that's why, you know, I like it more than you do. The downside, and I agree with you, the shape of the vehicle limits the amount of interior space and cargo that you can carry. So on the one hand, it'll appeal to sedan buyers, but it might not appeal to SUV buyers because they might need a slightly boxier shape to carry things around. Well?
What?
Come on, I was right. You like it. You don't like it?
You're right, I like it.
What's that, Lacey? You what?
I like it.
For complete specs, go to our website at drivingtelevision.com.